Hello, and welcome to episode 26 of Citizen. Today we're going to talk about theaters of war. And we not only have one special guest, we have two actually in the flesh, so to speak. First, we're going down our semi-regular, Kelosal, going to say hi and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi guys. I'm Kelosal, aka Kelosal. So I'll pretty much about me. I'm a teacher in life, but outside of that, other than that, I'm a huge gamer. Been a huge gamer for a long time. Have been a huge backer of Star Citizen for quite a long time. I'm not even going to tell you how long it's been, but I enjoy the game very much, and I enjoy the company that it brings. So I guess I'm here. So I appreciate you guys allowing me to be here.
Nice to have you with us again. And today we have our special guest, Erris from Relay. Say hi, Erris.
Hi, Erris.
Tell us about yourself.
Hello, my name is Erris. I'm part of Relay, and we've been doing news and stuff with Star Citizen for 5 years now, I think ish.
Only 5?
Only 5. I don't know. It might be more. My memory's just woo. And yeah, I backed Star Citizen during the Kickstarter and have spent entirely too much money and time and effort and brain power and everything on this game. But hey, no, that's it. That's me in a nutshell.
So is it true that you guys stopped transcribing because Tony Zevik just broke everyone?
No, we tried. We did actually successfully transcribe Tony Zervek once or twice. He was very difficult to do live. That was just nuts.
That was the camera. The camera's back.
Yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back was actually CIG moved from having just video content to doing a monthly summary in text, and it was like, oh well, this is basically what we were doing. And also, I had a kid, and others of us had jobs, and just transcribing takes a long time. A 1 hour video takes like 3 hours to transcribe. So
what you're saying is you became an adult during the development of the game.
When I backed the game, I was young and single and had nothing but disposable income. And since then, I've, lost all money because I have children and a fiance and a house. And it's like, well, there we go. Yep.
All right, thank you. So yeah, today we're talking about theaters of war. Before we start with the video, you guys have any thoughts on theaters of war? What you know about it so far and everything, or what you're anticipating it, and just your preliminary basic thoughts about theaters of war. Start with Erris.
Sorry, your audio is a little garbled for me, so I wasn't able to make out parts of that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try again. And I'll check on it in a bit. But give us your preliminary thoughts on theaters of war, Erris.
Yes, I can do that. So, preliminary thoughts on theaters of war. It's probably the near to us thing in Star Citizen that I'm most interested and I think is most important for the game and for backers. The persistent universe is fine. It's something to go and fly around and sort of mine and do this, but like theaters of war, a cohesive game mode that has a beginning and an end and a round length, and you can just jump in and jump in and jump in and still try every. I don't think there's anything more important than theaters of war coming to Star Citizen in the near future.
Oh, and good luck. Thank you for the follow. Also,
Other than gameplay, Theaters of War and lore, I mean, that's what I'm looking for the most. I mean, as far as my preliminary thoughts about Theaters of War, it is something well needed. You see that in other games, but to have something a little bit different than Star Marine, that would be a little bit as consistent as people popping in and out and jumping from one part of the zone to the next part of the zone, while having the opportunity to using multiple vehicles during that is quite exciting, and I would say you know, something that's well needed in the game for a little bit of a diversity. So I mean, I'm encouraged that they are striving towards that, and it's just one step towards many things that they could do with that. I mean, they could break out with multiple zones with that, with multiple ships, and they could even have you know, capital ship battles with that if they're trying to do all that. So it's something that I'm looking forward to working with in the future.
Okay. Do I sound better now, or do I sound the same?
There's a little bit of a hiccup with the audio, just a little bit.
Okay. I'll see if I can fix that. So my preliminary thoughts are that I'm looking forward to the space battles portion, but not so much the FPS portion. So hopefully I'll be able to you know, help out that way. Maybe drive a car, drive a vehicle if needed, and do that kind of thing. But as far as the FPS thing, I'm not too much anticipating it, but hopefully I'll be able to help out in something somewhere. And you can see I already brought my own team.
Great. You got a lot behind you there.
All right, so let's get started. Let's start with the first video. There we go.
This takes me back a little bit.
Remember those HUDs?
I mean, when was this? Just long ago.
I think this is 2015.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say 2016-ish, 15-ish. That's the old 300. Good God.
I mean, the thing I'm thinking of, it's changed. This is just focusing on movement, right?
I'm having some technical difficulties. Even though it's breaking out, I'm going to see if I can fix it. But I'll be on. Let me know when you get my
Yeah, well,
what are your thoughts?
well, I can tell you that's Arena Commander, and at least that's the two arenas in Arena Commander. What is it? Dying Star, I believe, is one of them. I believe, and I mean, there's some. If we're looking at the progression between then and now, it's a massive change. Those of you, I mean, part of my way of getting into Evocati was that I played Arena Commander all day, every day. I mean, I remember playing at least 12 hours a day, in some cases 7-8 hours a day. I was barely in the PU. So, but there are some massive changes even today. And if they can, obviously, you start to see some signs of what they are doing with Arena Commander and TOW in terms of trying to combine them. So, but yeah, that's wow. I can't believe we've been on that long. I mean, it's old 300 looking like that. Goodness.
I still, my memories of like when Arena Commander first like hit are limited to crashing into the mystical bubble around the edge just so many times, and but it was great. Like so if I look at Arena Commander it's sort of in the vein of Theaters of War. Arena Commander was our first chance to fly ships. Right, that was the first time we got to walk around a tiny bit in the hangar module. Arena Commander was the first time we could fly some ships and see what it felt like to actually fly in Star Citizen, and it was huge. And they made it better and better and better. And it was sort of the same thing with Star Marine. It was the first chance for us to get in and try ground combat, like first-person combat in Star Citizen, to see how they were handling it. And I think that like Theaters of War is going to be bigger than both of those because it combines those two into one. It's like we're going to be able to see some tight gameplay of FPS to space to FPS and whatever combinations they end up throwing at us. But I think it's incredible. And to think that came out in like what, 2015?
The original one came out in 2014, or 2013 or something like that. But that was, I think the video is after. But yeah, so that came out. Arena Commander for me was already there when I backed Star Citizen. I backed in 2014, so that came out like a few months or so before then, and I enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed like the racing simulator for me was how I like practiced got used to the ships. Because because flying in space and open area is nice to get your feet wet, but if you then you do Banjo Swarm to do some practice combat against NBC fighters. But then the racing for me is like trying to get used to the ship and trying to get used to maneuverability, trying to make those corners that you want to make in dogfighting. So I really enjoyed the racing aspect for me.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the next video talking about 1.0. So let's take a watch.
Love that ship.
The Penguin, I love it.
It's one of still.
I always hated the Hornets. I hated the Hornets so much. I had to get the Gladiator.
Oh, the Hornet is my jam.
Oh, the Hornet is top 5 worst ship in the game.
Mad Wolf.
There's a lot more punch.
And that was it for Arena Commander 1.0. What are your thoughts, Kelosal?
I'm going to put a little bit of a plug because, I got to put some love to my brother because my brother is still upset with CIG for not giving the freelancer the love that it was portrayed to be when it was supposed to happen. So, Melvillus, this is for you, buddy. CIG, please go ahead and put those engine specs, those VTOL engines for the freelancer like you promised. So my brother can calm down from that because he is still on his high horse with that, and he will love you and start investing in your wonderful game as soon as you can go ahead and take care of that. In the meantime, with all that going on, CIG, hint, hint, take care of that. Wow, the Cutlass. Wow, that you saw in that picture. The 1.0, and here we are now with 3.10.2, I believe, right? Is that where we're at right now? Something like that?
Something like that.
I really can't say much. I hope I didn't take your time, but I mean, I'm just speaking for my brother here. Get it together.
No, that's fine.
Get it together, CIG, with that freelancer. Get it together. Okay.
You see, and now I am tempted to skip David Erris because I just know he's going to spend the next 5 minutes going on a rant, going the same thing. Kelosal, you're like the second person after Erris to complain about the freelancer or Melvillus. So
Yep.
you're like you three are like a trinity of brothers now. So go ahead, Erris, take it away.
I'm not going to complain too much about the freelancer because everyone knows it's the only. There are two ships left that actually need some love. They are the oh man, I can't even remember its name ever because nobody ever talks about it. Not the Redeemer, but the
Oh, I thought you were going to say Redeemer.
Tally.
Tally.
And the freelancer needs some love. Period. Just like bring it up to spec. Anyway. No, 1.0 was another one of those.
Yeah, we lost him for a second, Erris. So, oh, there he is. He's back.
No, there he's back. Go ahead, Erris. Your
Sorry.
last point, please.
I don't remember what the last point was. It just felt really good to see 1.0 as a release. Like, honestly, it kind of hurts to look back at it now, but at the time it was like, man, 1.0, we're getting somewhere, Like this is a milestone, and now like 18 years later.
Your child is grown. No, it's just something for the audience. For me personally, Discord had issues today. Discord went down for me for like 20 minutes or so. So maybe the remnants of that. Because people in chat are saying that Erris is having some robot too, so it's not just me. But Kelosal, you're coming in clear, so that's a good thing.
Hey,
But,
I'll take that.
But like I said before, Arena Commander for me is just getting my feet wet, and then I use voice attack as well as the joystick and some keyboard, but I try to stay away from the keyboard. I take my hand, I take my hand off the joystick to go to the keyboard and put it back on the joystick. So that's just waste time. So I try to do as much as I can with just one joystick and voice attack. And it's a learning curve, put it that way. So yeah, as far as the way the ship and everything, yeah, it's a throwback. Some I have a nostalgic feeling because I thought I back in 2014, so looking back on this stuff it's interesting and seeing how far we've come. So I'm enjoying it. All right, so let's try the next video.
What do we got now?
Make me feel older.
We're all old.
Mm.
Exactly. Want to go back and watch the Kickstarter video.
We watched the Kickstarter video a while back, but yeah, we've seen it like a few months back.
Thanks, Gatsby. It's good to be on cam finally.
Yes, I saw something, but went back to the Soul Citizen string. Okay, so while we're waiting for the video, so yes, like I said, it's been 3 years for some of us. When did you back Colossal?
Oh my gosh, I backed around 15-ish.
15.
15, right around 14, right towards the end of 14, going to 15. And
What
I've
made you
known
back?
about it since 2012 because I remember telling my brother about it. I was like, listen, this game. It's Chris Roberts and Wing Commander. Do you remember Wing Commander? And I have all of his Wing Commanders, Wing Commander 1, Wing Commander 2, watched the even movies. So I've always been a big fan of Chris Roberts. And by the way, I love it when Ben Lesnick comes out and tells the story. I miss him, by the way.
Yeah, we all miss him.
Mm-hmm. But been following it for quite a long time. And you know how it is. You always want to jump and back it really quickly. But there's been a couple of games that I've been burnt on by backing it at the beginning. And especially as recently as EverQuest Next, when I spent $200 on that, and that went just by the wayside. So, but so I
What did
followed
you
it
buy
for
at
a long
EverQuest
time.
next?
EverQuest Next was that was, I want to
No,
say,
what did you
around
buy in it?
50. What I bought, the big package, it was like $200.
Oh,
It was like
okay.
lifetime package and all that mess and so forth and so forth. And all you were doing at first, that's a different story. We're talking about Star Citizen.
Right. No, I was
But
just wondering because I played SWTOR, Star Wars Georgia Republic, and I
right.
bought that back in August. A statue, that's $150 pack. So
Mhm.
yeah, I know what you mean, but I didn't know EverQuest Next had the same thing. So
Yeah,
how about you,
right off the
Erris?
bat. But you gonna move to him? I ain't finished yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
We'll
thought you were
get you-
done. My bad.
yeah, I'm sorry. We'll get you there. But it's just the fact that that was the only reason why I didn't invest in it early. But I stayed. I basically saved money and just kept going. And it was some rough times at the time. And then when I finally got solid, I went ahead and pushed in for it immediately. And a couple of $1,000s later. But other than that, I'm a proud backer.
And how about you, Erris? Okay, so let's go to the FPS video next.
That logo.
Yeah, I know, right?
I remember.
And that's the nebula behind them. Look how far nebula just come too.
And that. Oh, there they are. The hair straighteners.
All copy. Stop it to go. Touchdown in 2, people. Ready up. Oh, that asshole ain't gonna know what hit him, sir. Might want to wake up Lawrence.
Wait, what?
Hey, Lawrence. 9 o'clock in, you straight?
The hair straighteners.
The what?
The hair straighteners.
Okay.
That looks like a hanger.
Oh, okay. I got that now. It was just I couldn't make that up on the back.
Still waiting on that ship.
Gonna be waiting a while.
Oh wow! You see the way the characters just pop in? I haven't seen that style in a while.
Yeah.
Look at the old HUDs.
All I remember, I don't know if the audio is playing or not, but was the tactical that they used. They were during this video, they were like, okay, swoop left, Alpha Tango, swoop right,
Yes.
and like copy. It was just no, please stop.
I have the audio turned down. I closed my window, so I'm just watching the video on my phone. So yeah. How about you?
No, there is no audio right now.
Yeah, but the split view now.
We got a closer look at
I remember watching this video. They're trying to. Oh, I just got the audio for the show.
Okay, chat does hear.
Maybe you're
Okay.
a pirate.
I just have muted so that I don't myself talking. I never want to talking.
Guys,
Oh, but they're saying the audio is double.
alright, throw down
So,
ADS.
I'm not sure if that's the same audio or also double. Yeah, everyone's audio is double. Okay, thank you. Oh, did you see the shield?
I remember that.
How many of y'all are looking forward to having portable shield?
I like the portable shield.
How did we forget that this time around?
Right? Right?
Unbelievable.
Like, I mean, I know the community has a long memory, but some of the stuff just falls by the wayside. And now it's chat is saying the triple audio, so we're looking into it. Thank you. So, do you think the shield is going to come back? Portable shield, are you ever going to get that?
Oh my gosh. What? I mean, it'd be nice if they snuck it in on us. Hint, hint. 4.0. But
There's a number of things that have been promised that might be nice. The shield would be fun. I mean, especially in Theater's War, having something like that, a deployable
Right.
that would make a lot more tactical at points. Theater's War would be really. I don't actually know how Theater's War has progressed, how like loadout things work, but if there's any sort of a point buy for a loadout, it might be interesting to have like one or two people on your squad sacrifice something else to take shields so that when you're on attack or something, you can set up some cover.
I mean, okay, well, I mean, that's the first minute that we're going to watch. I mean, that's going to be interesting. So obviously we're looking at the evolution, right?
Right.
Where we're getting towards right now, and God, how did we miss those shields? I remember seeing it a long time ago. I remember asking about it, and people were asking about, are there going to be engineers in the game? Are there going to be certain classes in the game? But you know, give me those shields, CIG. The free lad, and give me those shields.
I also want the crossbow. There was a crossbow. There was a crossbow that was promised. I want that crossbow still.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that melee takedown that's showed in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So I'm looking forward to that match personally. But yeah. So here's the question for the three of you before we continue to the next video. What do you guys think of having implementing the Holy Trinity, healer, tank, DPS, and Theater's War? Do you think we'll have something like that, or some kind of hybrid?
I mean, you kind of have no need for that right now. The fact that you have the medipens, that everybody has a medipen. You said the healer, a tank, and a DPS. I think they're looking to be a little bit more innovative than just that. So, I mean, that would be a classic copycat of a lot of games that are out there. So it'd be interesting to see how they create their own.
I mean, people copy because it works. But go ahead, Erris.
I don't think classes are at all where Star Citizen is going to go. Like, not dedicated ones. It's going to be more of a like, what can you fit, right? Your equipment, your armor is going to have hard points, or not hard points, but like an item load that you can carry. And it's like, do you want a med kit or do you want a sidearm? Do you want, and it's going to be those sorts of decisions, which, I mean, You're going to have people that want to do medic gameplay and are going to choose to have a medic bag on them at all times. And I think that's how we're going to get. I think it's going to be really good for, I want to say, higher level gameplay where people get together and you've got, a group of 12 people or something that all get together and all play together, and you assign yourselves different jobs, not classes, but like
Right.
load
Different. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see it going back. Like JJ2078 says, IRL military squad roles, DMR, gunner, anti-tank, medic. I don't think it'll be predefined loadouts. I think it's going to be you choose what you want, but yeah.
The reason why I'm asking because when you see those shields, that makes you think of a tank, and you don't know if everyone is going to be able to carry one or not. So that would be interesting. If everyone is able to carry one of those shields, then they probably won't be a need for them. But it's only like certain armor classes can carry them. Like maybe the heaviest one can carry them. Then that would make them a tank in my opinion. But who knows how it's going to work out?
Good.
Okay. All right, so next we're going to see the Star Marine in its current state.
Oh, Star Marine.
Oh, here's
Look,
the new logo.
I've been waiting for. I mean, let's be honest. I haven't played Star Citizen in a bit. It's like busy, but I jumped into Star Marine a number of times, just waiting for it to feel good, and I'm still waiting for it to feel like a good FPS.
Yeah. I can concur with that one. I think the best Star Marine, at least the map for me, was the most recent one they put in. I can't remember the name of the map, but they almost something like the Good Doctor is the name of the map, and with that map, that was to me probably the best feel of the game, and I just can't wait until they implement something like that. I think that was leading towards Theaters of War. So, but I've talked about it for a while in terms of Star Marine. It's missing that fluidity in terms of the connection with the weaponry to the player and things like that and so forth. It'll be interesting to see how they connect that, because there's still problems with the objects. You hopping over objects, you trying to shoot the player. It just doesn't feel consistent yet for me.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, fastcart.
No, I didn't have any much. Go ahead.
I agree. And they put so much effort into flight model. They keep refining the flight model, and I want them to refine gun model and the gunplay model. That's what I want to see improvement on. It's my thing is FPSs. I used to play Battlefield competitively. I used to play Call of Duty. I love me some FPS, and I play it for 5 minutes and then run away because it doesn't feel like a.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that feel, man. I want that feel.
Yeah, I'm not very good at playing FPS because I play one-handed. I'm able to play Mass Effect on the lowest and maybe second to lowest difficulty, if that. I played way back when you may remember Dark Forces from LucasArts, but that was a single-player game, and I was able to complete that, but I had to go at my own pace. So I'm worried if I play with real people at real time, I'll be slowing them down. So that's why I'm more interested in being able to a driver or a pilot rather than a gunner. But if I'm able to chuck some grenades in someone's way, that can't hurt, right? Well,
Well,
that'll hurt them.
and it looked great as soon as they fixed the mechs on that. I mean, instead of the grenade bouncing around like a tennis ball or something like that. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I mean, I can't believe that this is one of the ones that got me into the game as well a lot. But Erris, I agree with you. I am looking for that. I really am trying to stay away, trying to compare it to, Call of Duty. I really am trying to stay away from that because that pretty much is like the, I won't say that's the best way of FPSing, but a lot of people enjoy that type of gameplay, right?
Yeah.
And so when I play, Star Marine, like I said, that connectivity of the bullet hitting the player just doesn't feel right for me. Launching, shooting the guns, although it looks great, it still doesn't feel right to me. So, like, I'm encouraged to see how Theaters of War is going to be in everybody's hands. I like the dynamics of how they're trying to put things out there like that. But if they can tighten up on the mechanics of the shooting aspect to at least get somewhere close to Call of Duty, I would fall in love with Star Marine or even Theaters of War.
It's like I agree 100%. I mean, Call of Duty's it's not a one-to-one, but when you look at first-person shooters that control well, that you feel like you're in control of your character at all times. Like when you move. When you it's more fluid, it's more snappy, and it's Call of Duty, Destiny, like there are many first-person shooters that have that feeling and have that you feel like you're in control. Rainbow Six Siege, and they all have different like time to kills. They all have different mechanics involved, but they all feel like you're in control. And I think that the thing that bothers me most about Star Marine so far is it doesn't feel like I'm in control. It feels like I'm controlling a character.
Okay.
If that makes any sense, like it feels like I'm one step removed from the person that's doing stuff. But
right, and I get it, Kimmy. I mean, it's definitely not Call of Duty, but I showed this to my kids, my students when we were down. We finished testing, and the kids were trying to say, "Oh, let's look at this, let's look at that," and I was like, "Oh, y'all need to look at this game called Star Citizen." I showed them this part of Star Citizen, and they were like, "It doesn't feel like Call of Duty." That was the first game they called out. So, but they were encouraged by it. I even had some kids come to me next year. They was like, "Hey, Mr. So and so, I went ahead and purchased the game." It's like great, but everybody knows that Call of Duty or some game that's similar to that is the standard barrier for. Yeah, it's the gold standard for that type of a shooting. So I'm looking for something that would get me into that and something that would feel that fluid, if that's the right word. And it's not fluid yet to me. It feels like I'm just trying to fight either the mouse, the joystick, the keyboard, or something. That's what it feels like to me.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong, completely wrong on this, but didn't Chris Roberts say that he wanted to be closer to Battlefield?
Your word is better than mine. If you said that, then it's true.
I think it was more compared to things like Battlefield or Arma. I know that Arma was mentioned a lot way back when, and it's supposed to be a slower, more thoughtful game. But even in something like Battlefield, even in something like Arma, you still feel it feels more fluid. There's just this fight over the character that in Star Marine that doesn't quite feel good. It's just I don't know. It's a when you've played like 10,000 hours of first-person shooters and you hop into Star Marine, you're like, no, it's not right.
It's not there. Yep.
And I can't pinpoint why. I can't tell you exactly what's wrong, but it's not right.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so thank you thank you both for your perspective. Like someone who doesn't play FPS, this is something like I mean I watch people play. I can't watch people play. Some people have like the mouse sensitivity way too high, so they turn the mouse to turn the corner. I get motion sickness, so that's me. But I do try to watch it occasionally. All right, so let's try to go to our next video. Okay, this is the Sean Tracy 2949 presentation.
Now we get to someone who hopefully understands that it doesn't feel good and knows how to fix it. Because that's Sean Tracy's job.
Well, and this is his baby, so.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you could tell he was excited.
Hello? Hello.
This got me really excited too, because he seemed excited about it.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, somebody get out of the way real quick.
what's
I've
the
been taking
word?
pictures with a lot of people today, and it's awesome. Had a lot of fun, but do me a solid. I've got to you guys take a picture with me this time, okay? All right, everybody say fun. Fun. Okay, cool. Thank you. I look forward to reviewing all the very, very kind gestures, I'm sure, that were in that picture. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So welcome to CitizenCon 2949.
Yes.
I know it's been going all day already, but I hope you guys had a lot of fun so far. And definitely stick around, of course, for the keynote at the end. So super excited to be with you guys today and have some exciting and interesting stuff to talk about. So over the years, I've been involved in a lot of things at CIG, and usually when you've seen me here at CitizenCon, I've come to talk about, new technology, some tools, maybe pipelines, methods to make all this kind of
Don't have to
stuff.
pause the video or anything,
But today
I
it's
just
going to be a
wanna
little bit
ask,
different. So today,
compared
I want to talk about a
Star
new
Marine
game
now
mode for
compared
Star
to
Marine
like when
that we're
you could walk
calling
in your
Theaters
hangars
of War.
before
So
Star
up on
Marine
stage
came
with
out.
me,
Do
at
you
the end
think
is
there's
lead
an
FPS
improvement
designer,
there?
Richard Tyre, and he's been instrumental in
Okay,
helping me
you're gonna
build
have to
this
say that
game
at
mode for
question
Star
one more
Marine.
time,
And he's
because I
gonna
want to make
stick
sure I
around
answer this
to
correctly.
answer some questions during the Q&A at the end. So let's
Compared
go
to
over
like
the
when
agenda a
you
little
first
bit.
started the
So
game
first what we're
without
going to
Star
talk
Marine,
about.
before Star Marine came out, to when Star Marine did come out to now, is there improvement in how the character feels?
Yeah, I mean, there's some improvement to the character flow. I mean, but like I said, I don't know if that's far in between. I don't think there's been a great improvement or a great advancement in Star Marine. I think they gave some excuses to where they send the game changes. They want to stay on with the PU or something like that, because the PU really doesn't go into doesn't coincide with Star Marine or even Arena Commander for that to say. So I think the changes are slower in Arena Commander and Star Marine. So there has been some changes. The Good Doctor, there has been changes in arenas. But as far as the flow of the game and as far as consistency, as far as fluidity, they leave more to be desired. Let's put it that way.
How about you, David?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's part of why Theaters of War is so exciting. Star Marine was forgotten.
Arena Commander was forgotten.
Yep. Arena Commander had some updates, and then when the Persistent Universe came out, understandably, like what they're trying to build is the PU and Squadron 42. Arena Commander was sort of a beginning thing before the PU. Star Marine was a beginning thing before, so I understand that they've been forgotten and sort of left, and they're sort of dead. Theaters of War is important because it's a chance for them to balance everything. Like everything that's going to be in Squadron 42, everything that's going to be in Star Citizen. Yeah,
Now, to be fair,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Erris, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I guess on that point, I guess to be fair, isn't Sean Tracy's team kind of small? Didn't he say something about not having a big team on that yet? I believe. So
It's probably
that
in the
could,
presentation.
right? So that could be one of the reasons why it hasn't progressed as much. But because I think some of the resources are diverted towards Squadron 42. So maybe that could be a reason why we don't. Right, Kimmy. So maybe that could be a reason why we don't see what we want to see.
Yeah.
So that I'm encouraged at least by that. I can we can back off. I can back off from that, but still, I would think that Star Marine would be some like a testing ground towards what they really want to get towards. So
it's how you got to consider how Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are being developed. They're not being developed in silos. They are being developed together, right? So, and we actually saw that literally this week on Inside Star Citizen with the Cloud tech, the Nebula tech.
Yeah.
That's now going into the PU, but that was pulled directly from their work on Squadron 42, right? So everything, the two games are feeding into each other. And I think what you're getting with Theaters of War, honestly, is they've looked at it and they've said FPS doesn't feel fun in Star Marine. FPS probably doesn't feel fun in Squadron 42. They have to solve FPS everywhere, and they can't give people levels of Squadron 42 to test the FPS in, right? We can't do that. But what they can do is set up a distinct game mode that more people are interested in, because no one even really played Star Marine all that much, to be honest. A distinct game mode that people are more interested in, where they can encourage people to go play. Then they can get the testing that they need to fix up the FPS in both the PU and Squadron 42, mesh it all together. Yeah, sorry.
Is sort of
you're right. Just to keep in mind
about.
strongly that they are focusing all its priorities, most of its priorities, on Squadron 42, right?
Yeah. So let's continue the video. While we are watching the video, I think you mentioned at the end how he anticipating Theaters of War would not fall to the wayside the way Marine Commander or Star Marine did.
Okay.
Next, we're actually going to talk about the map that we're playing here at CitizenCon today. So it's a scenario. It's basically a map. But
I actually think that Theaters of War won't fall to the wayside.
Great lore team within the Star Citizen community.
Theaters of War is like Battlefield. Like it's a full Battlefield game. It's restricted to one map, but there's an overview game.
Really just walk through each of the sort of phases, and this will make a lot of sense in a little bit. We'll talk about some of the new mechanics we brought online to make this a lot more fun. We'll talk about the vehicles, the character loadouts, and basically how you play the game. Then finally, we'll get into some future plans, when you guys are going to get your hands on it, and some of the features that we're still really wanting to work on before we roll out that game mode. Okay, so in Star Citizen, we have the concept of electronic access. And electronic access is like this simulator for all these different events that can go on within the universe. Basically,
it's a good joke, but man,
it's like an entertainment for the denizens of Star Citizen, for citizens. And it's really an important distinction because Arena Commander, Star Marine kind of exist under this umbrella. And because it's a simulation, we can kind of get away with some stuff that is a little more, quote unquote, gamey than it is in the persistent universe. In the persistent universe, things are a little more permanent, obviously with persistence. So Star Marine and Arena Commander were the first two to exist under this umbrella. And they made a lot of sense in their own regards. Arena Commander came out, test our flight. That is our core gameplay. So let's get the flight happening. Then we had the FPS, which was Star Marine. And now what we have is Theaters of War that kind of groups the two together. So I also contend that these simulations are a really good spot for us to be able to tell some lore in a really meaningful way and an interactive way so that you guys get to experience that lore in a way that's super memorable. So you can imagine it's kind of like a reenactment, like the Gettysburg battles or anything like that, that basically these guys go in, simulate, and play through. So now let's talk about the scenario or the theater that we built for CitizenCon.
watch each other's back, and come home in one piece.
See, and this is what I like about theaters of war is the phases. You know, the fact that the vehicles are in the game, and here you are at phase 1, which is the ground operation to go ahead and take over certain points, right?
Yeah.
Using multiple weapons, the weapons that you have right now. You got this weapon here. I can't remember the name of the weapon. But you know, we were talking about medics and engineers and things like that and so forth. Like I said, I didn't feel that there was no need for that, because everybody has the opportunity to, from the game, to be able to choose a particular weapon that you want to do and choose a particular vehicle as you go around in the environment, even in phase 1. So, I mean, kudos to Sean Tracy for trying to get this out and his group. I think this is one of his babies, if not the baby, that he's trying to get for the community, and it's got a lot of promise.
All right, new plan. I think they're controlling that radar tower. I need all agents
I
to
really
focus
like
on
the
that.
phases as well. It's distinct objectives each way through, and it feels more like a game, right? And the persistent universe at some point is going to be like an MMO, but it's not even really there yet. And Star Marine is sort of a broken deathmatch.
Right.
But this is Battlefield, right? This is what people have been playing for decades, or I don't know, a decade or more in Battlefield. It's
15 years.
it's the one team's on attack, one team's on defense, hit the objective, move on. Like, it's perfect. It's kind of funny that it's delivered through electronic access.
In that note, I mean, I think fastcart, this will be good for you, at least phase 2 and phase 3, because this is where you can move from FPS to exactly, you know, jump in space combat and flight combat and things like that. I mean, that's my niche in terms of getting to the ships. I mean, I can get more kills in the ships than I can with FPS.
You ships are taking on
So,
foot,
and then of
whatever
course,
it
phase
takes.
3,
It's
you're going
gotta go.
out into orbit and getting to the space station. You've got to go and try to take over that. So I love the aspects of that. I think somebody asked earlier that would they be able to bring in? No, so I was looking at the FAQs, and somebody asked the question: would they be able to bring in the tank? You know, to be determined. You know, you never know, but the vehicles that they have in game right now, moving from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3. This is what I was talking about in terms of being fluid. This is what I was talking about in terms of being consistent. And because now you're moving from one phase to the next, to the next, to the next objective. And it makes it all the more enjoyable to play.
Well,
I think-
you go ahead, Fastcart.
I'll be quick. For me, I can see myself definitely as a driver. Like, you know, just driving people around the map or whatever until we get to the ship. And then when I get to my ship, I should be able to hold my own. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, you mentioned the tank, right? And I think that it made me think that one of the things that this community has done for so long is come up with interesting ways to play, like find the vending machines and get the vending machine. Like, we've come up with different games to play as a community in the persistent universe, and I can't wait to see what people come up with in this. I want to see someone find a way to fit a tank into one of the drop ships and just show up at the space station with a tank firing out the back end of the I can't wait to see what people can do.
And the idea is that this happens in some sort of historical Star Citizen setting, a story from our lore. So ultimately, Star Citizen hasn't just always been an FPS or just an arena shooter on its own. It's really more accurately
that point there is actually really interesting as well.
You've got all kinds of vehicles,
that these are settings from lore. So they're going to be able to make interesting battles, right? And interesting setups. And I cannot wait to see what they come up with and the places they bring us to and the history that they actually tell through Theaters of War and the lore that they tell through Theaters of
It's
War.
got to be fun before. So it really gives us a really, really solid
I've been waiting
analytical
on this
environment
for a hot minute.
hone the game.
I know it's
Okay.
but I really have been waiting on this.
Shots does it take
AKA
to,
Teachers
the
Love
railgun
Posters,
to
by the
take
way.
down an
So,
Ursa?
how
many Ursa
look,
shots does it take down to take
I've been
Valkyrie?
waiting on
all
lore
of these
for a
things,
hot
they
minute
do happen
on
in the
this.
PU,
And
but a little more
Erris,
sparsely.
you bring up, and Sean
it can
Tracy
take
did
some
do
time.
a
So,
fabulous
having
point
said that,
on
when
where this
combat
game
occurs,
would go
it's really
as
gotta be
soon as they
fun.
go ahead and put that. I
So,
mean,
to
we're
reiterate
waiting
the
on
key
the new
points,
Star Wars
you know,
game right now that has
Theaters of
battle
War is
scenes
another game
of capital
like
ship battles and you
Elimination
flying
or
through
Last
capital ships.
Stand in Star
Imagine
Marine.
when you see Idris
So,
just
and
running
again,
around the place,
combined arms,
fighting
everything's in play.
next to each other, and you're trying to get from
what do we
phase 1
want
to phase
achieve
2,
with
and
this?
phase 3
Well,
is
we want to be
between
able to
Idris
balance all
battles.
this. We also want to give you a solid
I would blow up multiple
30-minute
times just
experience
looking at the
where you
Idris.
can come in, have some
Look,
fun,
one of the
play.
best multiplayer
It's times when
FPS
we're all
games
so busy,
was
you can't always play for 3 hours.
Battlefield
You can't always play for 4 hours.
2142
You need actually a real quick
with
arcadey
the
kind of combat.
the competing capital
not
ships that you had to
different than
launch
Star
from the
Citizen.
capital
It's gotta be
ships,
the
destroy
same.
stuff on the
And
ground,
that's
and
a
then
really
go back
important
up and
here.
destroy the.
We didn't develop really anything
Ah.
drastically new for this. This is using the exact same assets from the PU, same balance.
Let me
same
destroy an
everything.
Idris.
If
Having hot
anything,
flashes.
we've taken a lot of the stuff that we found within Theaters of War that we found unfun.
Yeah, you can do
and
that
we
in
apply it to the
Invictus
PU
now.
from there. So it gives us a
Yeah,
really
well,
good spot to be able to
bring me
do all
more
that.
of that type of stuff.
So
It'd
how
be
does Theaters
great
of War fit in right now?
instead of trying to steal a capital ship during Invictus.
Well, that was actually, how does Crossroads of Crime fit into Theaters of War? Okay, so what's Crossroads of Crime? That's actually the name of the map. That's the name of the scenario. So I want to kind of give you a little bit of a brief of that scenario. Now, I'm not nearly as good at telling these stories as the lore team is, but I'm going to give you a little bit of what they fed me. So we went through our lore and we went, where's some really exciting sort of combat happening within the history of Star Citizen, the last 100 years, 200 years, 300 years before the present day PU. And we found this great story. And the story takes place in the Nexus
I can
system.
too.
So in the Nexus system, there's a notorious outlaw gang, and there's a lot of outlaw gangs within the Nexus system. But this particular one is
Can we actually
specifically
pause for just
aggressive.
2 seconds?
So the Supreme is the name.
Go ahead.
Just Kemi says I can see backers buying in just for Theaters of War game by itself, and that exactly is something that I've been saying for a long time, because I mean CIG has used free fly weeks and it's used jump into the PU and try it out, and they've used that for a long time, but jump into the persistent universe as someone that has no idea what's going on, and you've got no idea what's going on. I quit out of Eve in seconds because I jumped in and was in a ship and got blown up by someone in the beginning area, and there was no tutorial. There's nothing, right? Theaters of War is approachable. It is understood. It's an understood game loop. And I think it's going to be so important for CIG to be able to say, yeah, this weekend, play Theaters of War for free.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure that it's working in working condition. That
Yes.
The fewer bugs, the better.
Well, I can tell you it let's put it this way, it feels a lot better than it did when they first put it out. I can tell you that much. And everybody's always concerned about the FPS and things like that. I think right now they're at 40 people, I believe, with the possibility of expanding itself. I'm not going to just to say some little words about it. I think people are going to be impressed when they do see it. I think the people who are testing it are giving very good feedback to Sean Tracy and his little team of miracle makers. That the game has been enjoyable to play, and I'm going to be encouraged to see what it is like in the near future. Hopefully, the near future. But it's interesting. I talked about this advocacy and the what is it supremacy? I believe that group. I want to know a little bit more other than seeing penguin ships coming by with advocacy titles on it. But but it's going to be interesting. I thought I was under the impression that the game was first under Hurston and then they moved it to Microtech, right? As far as Theaters of War? The
That
area
I
that's
don't
in?
know.
Okay, I believe so, if I'm looking at the FAQ correctly. But this is that other part in terms of lore, and that's what Sean Tracy's talking about, trying to incorporate lore heavily in the game that we see so little of right now.
All right, let's continue the video.
Name of the outlaw gang in this particular one, and they're facing off against an elite advocacy squad that has come to retake one of the planets. So to give you some backstory on the Nexus system was totally unclaimed. The Hathor group, which was a mining group, came in, but all they really cared about was mining. So as long as profits were being made, they totally looked the other way. And what that sort of evolved into was a really perfect sort of petri dish for a ton of crime. And in the end, Hathor Group strip mined the entire area, pulled out, and just left it as it was. And that obviously devolved into something pretty criminal. So with that, pretty much anybody that's doing anything bad in the universe is going to have some time crossing through the Nexus system. And that's where the moniker, the Crossroads of Crime, came from. So over time, the advocacy, or UEE specifically, said, you know, we can't just leave this alone. And the advocacy, being more or less the interstellar police force, went in to retake the system. So rather than give it up, the Supreme would rather see the whole thing destroyed, they're of this nature, before giving it up to the advocacy. One of the interesting sort of identifying things about the Supreme is that though they're super aggressive, they kind of take all comers, and they're not super well educated. So what you'll notice is that as the Supreme took over the base from the Hathor group, they actually use like pictograms and signs because not all their guys can read. It's kind of an interesting backstory to these guys, but though they can't read, they also use these pictograms to actually throw off the enemy, which is super interesting. So let's give you a bit of an overview of Theaters of War. So again, we're applying a lot of the player feedback that we've heard from Star Marine, from PU, and from all the different sort of Arena Commander matches that we've seen, and I'll get into some of the details of those later, but it really, again, has forced us to kind of look at things. One of the great ones that has come from Theaters of War that you guys are going to see in 3.8, it sounds simple, but it was really obvious that the animations need to be sped up. I mean, when we were mantling over things, the guy is just not much of a sense of urgency. It was kind of, climbing over things. He was just taking his time. Reloads, much faster. Getting into ships. When you're under fire, getting into a ship,
in and out of ships,
takes 15 seconds. You're going to die on your way into the ship.
It's quicker.
It's fluidity. I want to do this. Why is it taking me 10 seconds to do it? I just want to do it.
I don't want to call them legacy because they're still around, but are Star Marine maps that are really, really tight interiors. So you really only have ranges of like 20, 50 meters. Attachments didn't really matter. What's really the difference between a shotgun and an assault rifle at 20 or 50 meters? Putting the environment so that you in a compound that's starting to be 100, 200 meters is much, much better. Okay, so again, the idea was that we give a 30-minute experience that was chock full of combat, right in your face.
I think that's key.
So let's give an overview.
30 minutes is digestible.
So the mode is split into 3 distinct phases. It's basically, in this particular scenario,
I've got 45 minutes before I have to leave for work. I can hop into a quick match.
30 minutes, and right now we've got 20.
Half hour, done, right?
In this one,
and you can make it a lot quicker than that.
Now, it's
because it also provides for, it also gives way for good squad play. Yeah, if you got a good squad, a good group, people who know how to play well together, you can hit right through certain objectives quite quickly. You may not need all 30 minutes.
After you've taken phase 1, the Supreme actually activate a mining laser because they're not going to give up this planet.
After the second month or so, people will know everything by heart. So everyone.
So you got to destroy that radar tower, which is controlling the mining laser, and then finally. Actually, sorry, I'll talk about some of the vehicles in this one.
I'll let you get a new one.
We've got a lot. It's a huge area. So we go from phase 1, which is sort of the 200, 300 meter combat with some interior combat, to this.
This also allows like clans to practice everything more together, right? It's
so we get this great.
People are doing it in the persistent universe. They're putting together these sorts of things, but they're having to do it themselves, and it's difficult. This is a perfect place to
get into one. You could probably have a seat on
Play.
a planet and just
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, and you know what? Even more intense than Star Marine, because
But
Star
in
Marine's
this
a little bit
mode,
tight
the
knit.
ballista is
You know,
the
you
king.
got walls and stuff
that will
and
keep
to
those
go through,
ships away
but
real
this right
quick.
here is a little bit more open
And
now.
then finally, we
So now you
transition
have
from a
to-
ground-based
You're right. It's a
and,
lot
and
more
and
open.
low,
So you're gonna have to be
definitely low
a
atmosphere,
lot more strategic
to
as far as
upper
how you're gonna
atmosphere
place people.
and in space. So you get
I used to
transitions
play a
between
lot of
some atmosphere
Battlefield,
flight
and
some space flight where the objective is to
like
destroy
I
the
still
mine.
remember, like you'd be you and your squad moving
One of
to
the
an
things I wanna mention
objective,
before I get
and
too
there'd be
deep into
some
that is
bastard
that it's
who's
all
really
seamless,
damn
right?
good
Like,
with
I
the
mean, we've
jet,
got this
and
technology
he would
to be able
just
to do this.
pin you
Why not
down
use it to our
like
massive
over and over
advantage,
and over a
and not put
helicopter,
any loading
and
screens in between or
it
anything?
changed
That combat
the
is
game,
completely
right?
seamless
'Cause
as you
all
go
of a
through
sudden,
this
it's
entire thing.
objective. It's we
Ground,
gotta deal with him first
air,
before we can.
space. And this can go even
And-
further. The templates that we built for this, you can go between, you could make a map an entire solar system. I mean, you could be going to a planet in the distance. You can do it between a planet and a moon. You can do it between two moons. You could even do it between two solar systems. It's a crazy amount of technology that we have access to here, and all it needs is a little bit of structure. So when you load into the game, this is what you're seeing. This is our new spawning interface for this particular mode. Now, it makes a lot of sense for this mode. And what you're seeing up there is you see some control points, or some spawn points, and each spawn point sort of has a different...
Everyone
some of
understands
them are
spawn
infantry
points.
spawn points, some of them are vehicles, but you don't just spawn beside the vehicle. You're
Yeah.
going to spawn in the seat, and you get to select which seat you're going to spawn into. So
Yep.
if you want
And the good thing about the
straight into a
spawn
gunner
points
seat,
is,
you want to spawn
you know,
straight into a transport
no
seat
two
in a
spawn
hoplite,
points are alike.
you can do
You
that.
know, one spawn point may have a
On
particular
top of that,
vehicle
you'll
on it.
notice that
Another
there's
spawn
also
point
a selection at the bottom.
may have better
We've got a
cover.
preset
Another
selection. Now, I
spawn
don't
point
like
may
to call
lead
them
you to a
classes
different
because
area
they're
that
more
you're trying to
like
get to really
presets.
quickly.
We don't
So
really
you
have a
can pick and
class-based
choose
thing
which
within
spawn
Star
point you
Citizen.
want
What
to
we
be
have
in.
is whole
And of
sets
course,
of equipment that
based
just
off
do
of the
different
spawn
things. And
point,
yeah, you want to call
you
them
know, in
classes,
terms
but
of
in the end, I want to be able to
how
update,
much you've
change the
covered
primary weapon, change the secondary weapon, and
is
these kind of things.
will
We've
allow
got
you
4 within
the
this
ability
mode.
to determine which spawn
let's
point
talk
you're
about
at.
that.
Right? If you're at
So
a
here's
spawn
all the
point where
characters
it's
that
been
we're actually
taken over,
using
that
within
spawn
the
point is no longer
Crossroads of
available
Crime
for you.
right now.
So you're down
The
from
white,
3 to 2
and
spawn
might have a
points.
little gold
Yeah.
is the
This
advocacy.
is important.
So
We
you
have
guys can
character
see that when it
presets.
releases.
Yeah.
And then the red are the
The foot
Supreme.
soldier, assault sniper, and
So again, there's 4 different presets
Anti-vehicle.
to choose from, and each of them
Thank you.
kind of aim
Well,
to
there you go
provide
with
this
your
variety
classes.
of combat
Yeah.
and
So-
really roles, just fulfilling certain roles within.
I
the
mean, for Theaters of War, it makes
one of the more
sense.
interesting things is like the teams have asymmetrical loadouts. Meaning
Where's my medic,
there's
though?
not the same weapon, so assault on one team is not the same as assault on the other team.
where does it
This
hurt?
makes a lot of sense.
Better
within
learn
the
how to
lore
jab
because,
yourself
again,
with an
advocacy is
EpiPen real
coming from the
quick.
UE. They're going to have their weapons manufactured by Bearing.
I
They're going to use more
hate
ballistic
the
type
idea of
weapons.
an EpiPen.
Whereas the Supreme are going
Look,
to have.
I played a
some
sniper in
type weapons.
Battlefield.
They're going to have, some case.
And I had a
weapons.
friend
They're
that
gonna
played a
have,
medic.
Energy
And I'd be
weapons.
like spotting
The
people
other
and
things
trying to
mentioned
play
is that,
objectives, and
between
all
the
he'd
foot
do
soldier
is
and
run
assault, you
around
might say, what
and
is
shock
the difference
people
between a
with
foot soldier and
paddles.
assault?
And
In
he'd
this mode,
double
there is a
everyone
very
else's
real
score
difference
on both
between
teams
somebody
because
that's got
all
a
he did was
shotgun
run
and
from
close
person to
range
person.
weapons. They're going to be able to take out the interiors of these buildings really, really quickly. Whereas a foot soldier is much more all-rounder. He's like a rifleman within the infantry. Then you got snipers, which is pretty self-explanatory, I hope. And then we've got an anti-vehicle. And again, a little bit of asymmetry between the two teams. On the advocacy side, these use the Animus rocket launcher. And then on the Supreme, these ones use the railgun. So what vehicles do we got? We're all excited about the vehicles. So they range from fighting vehicles to transport vehicles. So we've got, these are all the vehicles that are actually in the mode right now, and we tried a ton of them, right? We actually even started with the Valkyrie, and we will get the Valkyrie back in, but for right now, it wasn't making a lot of sense. It's actually super duper powerful. It's got a lot of health on it, and again, this is why we're balancing this stuff. So you got the
okay, yeah,
Cyclone,
I
you've got the
think
Ursa
I'll say
Rover, and just to note, and I'll talk about it a little bit, the Ursa Rover acts as a
Got
mobile
that
spawn
look.
point within our crossover to crime.
I'm looking. I'm like, okay, but
Then finally, like I talked about, the ballista. The ballista just completely
If it's
surprised
on the
all of
screen,
us,
you
right?
talk
Because
about it.
became
If it's not in the
so
screen,
important.
don't talk about
It
it.
is the strongest anti-air ground vehicle that we have, and it really gives it a reason to exist in this particular mode. Again, it's a great vehicle, and in the PU it will be very, very meaningful, but right now, it's not. So we've got some great ships as well. The Buccaneer. This one is really cleaning up right now in that. And just to mention, we are getting statistics of what's happening in the war room right now. And just to give you an idea, the thing with the most kills right now are the Buccaneers and the Ursas. So then we have some arrows, the Hornet, and then finally we even have a dropship. So we replaced the Valkyrie with the Vanguard Hoplite.
At the time, the other thing I was
all of these
saying
you'd
that
use to
was
take
really
the fight
important
to the
about Theaters of War for the persistent universe
So what
as a
goes on in
whole
phase 1?
is this lets them balance ships against each other because they can swap ships out with each other and they can use it to balance everything in a more contained package.
Yeah.
So you saw a little bit of that on the video, but phase 1 is disable the AA turrets. So in this phase, the advocacy come to take over the laptops, and you'll recognize the laptops from Star Marine. We didn't just make anything new. We didn't have to. You take over the laptops to take over the AA guns from the base. Excuse me. And as soon as that's achieved, the AA guns are shut down, and you can now bring ships in for what is phase 2. I want to talk a little bit about the gameplay, and I keep kind of mentioning sort of the compound-like gameplay. So in this compound, you've got some interiors, but a lot of the combat happens in the exteriors. Once you've got one of the control points, you're going to end up having to transition over a whole yard that's got a lot of destroyed ships and things like this to go over it. So there's great sniping spots. There's a lot of defensive spots for the defenders because the attackers in this particular mode have 2 Ursa rovers and 1 Cyclone. So they can actually motor right in, and the defenders have to keep an eye on basically those Ursas because they can be used to spawn a lot of infantry. And on the Supreme side,
that
so
was
for
quite
the defenders,
deadly.
they don't have any vehicles on this one. So this can be really fun.
You know, the use of those vehicles can be quite
Once we
devastating. It
transition
can roll
from that,
over
once the
a
AA
certain
guns are
area,
taken
like
out,
just like
the
that,
Supreme are
if you
pushed
have
back
people in the wrong
to
spot.
their control tower. So they don't want them to take the base. They
Yeah,
activate the mining laser at that moment.
They're going to introduce
So the objective for phase 2 is to destroy the ground-based radar. There's 2 ways to achieve this, and this is one of the new mechanics that we've had. First, you can just shoot it. That's
Probably at some point.
You use missiles, you can lock onto it, you use your guns, you can ram into it. I mean, whatever you can do. You can do some damage to that tower. But there's a way for infantry to help as well. It's on top of a compound. And within that compound is a laptop that's actually hooked up to the control tower. And in that control, if you take over that laptop, you can overcharge it, which basically does like a 20-25% damage.
I would
to
imagine
the given,
you just said drop the Hornet out with the Gladiator. I would imagine for different
but it's hard to get in that outpost.
goals, you could do that.
So the Supreme at this moment are given ships.
I mean, he just gave me an idea.
And this is a great traversal that happens. As you can see, sort of on the image there, we've got a huge traversal where this is the end of phase 1, right, to the outpost. It's about 3 kilometers. So the defenders, they have, I think, 8 Buccaneers. It could be, we change the numbers all the time according to balance, but it's between 8 and 10 Buccaneers. And again, as a defending force, that's pretty powerful.
I said you could do that.
The attacking
I would like to see them do
2
that.
ballistas, 3 Hornets, 4 Rovers, and 2 Cyclones. So there's a lot of vehicle combat happening now. And don't forget, you can spawn.
I mean, like I said, it's wonderful. You can put your ace on top as soon as you get to that next phase.
Because of the ballistas,
you can put your ace pilot in one of those planes, and they can mow down the entire area.
So finally, in phase 3, you're actually going to the upper atmosphere, and we literally go straight up from the control tower. So I mean,
it sounds like there's stuff for everyone too, because I'm very bad at flying. But I'm very good at shooting.
It's the same way as achieving, well, mechanically anyways.
And
the objective
I'll be useful at each step, as long as someone drops me off somewhere.
Again,
absolutely.
Shoot it.
Now, this is the good part right here.
Crash into it.
Because obviously,
we've also got
this
the
is in
laptops.
orbit.
Now,
so I'm quite sure we're seeing that. Did we not see a Vanguard on that picture?
So this lets you
we're seeing that Vanguard on that picture, I believe. You can go ahead and just bring some people up there.
So as soon as you get to that laptop,
and you can have multiple people being dropped off or transported to that
next laptop if you can.
to that space station. So if you're on the opposite end of that, you better be on the lookout for those types of ships because they got multiple players in that ship.
Or if they haven't, they've lost.
If you're trying to keep people from taking over that space station,
all they have to do is stop them from destroying this illegally appropriated stronghold. Or not. Okay, so I can hear the live streams now. I can hear them. They're going, "Go! You got to finish the game, though. You got to finish that game and that game." So I want to explain that we really didn't have to put much into this. Now, in terms of work, it was over about 6 to 8 months, but we really only added a couple new mechanics and put some light structure around this. So some of the new mechanics we added: lock spawn points. So I didn't mention it on the phase breakdown, but in each phase we have this little locked spawn point. And all this is it's a spawn point for the infantry because it's a little bit further up, but all you have to do is walk into the volume and you take it. So if the defenders are really smart, they're going to try to defend that even more than the objective, because as soon as that's lost, it's the beginning and the end in that phase, usually. So these also coexist with what I talked about before, mobile spawn points. So that's the Ursa. You can take the Ursa up, you can go hide it, you can try to drive it right into the outpost. You know, it's really up to you how you want to play that, but even on the spawn screen, you will see that that Ursa is in a good location, and you're going to want to spawn there. So all the players really need to do is find the right spawn point and take care of their objective.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So
yeah, if you got a good squad, I'm telling you, you can hold down anybody.
We've been playing for the last
kind of excited
6 hours here. We've had a bunch of sessions come through, and the feedback has been great.
And you got 30 minutes.
We've been having a lot of fun within it. People are understanding the game right away. There's a lot of readability that's already been built into this, so that people understand what to do and where to go. So we took a quick video of sort of the reactions of some of the guys in there. All right, so it just shows you all the PCs. So we got 40 PCs set up within there.
Wow.
And everybody's coming in. We play for about 40
minutes.
We change the sides. We play for 20 minutes. Then we switch sides, and then we play for another 20 minutes. Now, what's been really fun about this is people are talking
after hours and say and ask
each other. Right?
You're right.
They're yelling at the enemy. We've got them on comms so they can talk to each other. And it's actually been really, really fun. The energy is fantastic. You can see that people are really enjoying being able to get that sort of 30-minute adrenaline-packed, high-octane kind of experience right in your face. There was a great moment where somebody was yelling out, Demo 55, you got to get better. And the guy was like, well, raise your landing gear and learn to lock on. You know, you can really tell the good pilots from the bad pilots, by the way. So if you want to look really good, make sure you raise your landing gear. We thought about making it automatic, but I'm like, no, I like to be able to tell if somebody's really good in the ships or not, because as they're flying around, they'll either lift it up, and if it's not, I'm like, I'm going to get him. He's easy.
Yeah, learn how to fly your ship.
So it's been a lot of fun, and the feedback.
How do you raise your
The reason
landing
we
gear?
made this thing at this time was I wanted to bring it to CitizenCon. I wanted to bring it to CitizenCon because I wanted to talk to you guys about it. I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I want to find out from you what's fun. I wanted that feedback. And the feedback's been fantastic. Everybody's got something to say about it, and it's usually very positive. But there was one grumpy guy on the way out one time. He was like, well, I still die lots, and he walked out. So, I mean, can't please everybody.
Look, I've got some feedback for Sean.
So we've sort of gone over all this, but
September
now I want to tell
2020
you
is
when it's gonna be in your
not
hands, because
early
this is,
2020.
talk.
That's my only feedback.
You can play it right now at CitizenCon, and it's in a good state right now. I'm pretty happy.
That's it. That's all I got.
One of the things that I tried really, really hard to do here was to take fun first.
Can you play right now? We love
CIG, I mean, as you guys know, we love our visuals.
CIG missing a date? That never happened.
You've seen Planet Tech before. You've seen some of the technology that we've got. We can make stuff beautiful.
I don't play enough to be the Cody.
Let's make it fun first.
Easy to join. You do have squads.
That's fun. But we don't want to make it beautiful. Changing it. Make it beautiful again. Let's just use some boxes. Thanks. So, just to give you an idea, I mean, I was talking to the one of our the senior lead environment artists, and he was like, "Man, I didn't know if you were gonna get it here. I saw that map 2 months ago or 3 months ago. I don't know. So it's not, you know, the culture definitely at CIG is our visuals, but we have to be sure that we're fun too. And that map was really just white boxes. That was most of the time it was the same wall piece copied thousands of times all over the map just to get the placement of everything right. And we would switch it, we would move spawn points. So we iterated massively on it with tons of play testing. And again, you could do this when you're in a sort of 30-minute, 40-minute kind of mode where you could iterate on it in that way. And then once we got closer to CitizenCon, we're like, okay, now make it really beautiful. Let's go, right? And we've had maybe about a month and a half, 2 months of real solid art time on it now.
From Space Marine.
Need a little bit more.
Because
I need a little bit
I'm Star
more,
Marine. Because
just to make that
Star
to
Marine,
the
you're
level
just
that
stuck
you
with
guys
that weapon,
have come to
right?
expect of us,
And
but we got to keep the performance up because, again,
as soon as
the
you
game has
die,
to come first.
you know, you're like, okay, I'm gonna try it again. 2 seconds later, you're dead again. You're like, screw it, I'm being a sniper. You can switch over real quick.
Having the more playable for CitizenCon,
And switch
I wanted
over
to get
to
a
a
bunch of feedback
sniper
from you guys.
or whatever
and pending the
other
CitizenCon feedback,
you know,
there was
class
a lot
or
of
crafts they
different
have
things
in the
that
game.
people came up
So it
with. There were
allows
some
you to
great
switch
ideas,
between. That's
actually,
one
that I
thing
think
that I love
we
about
should be
that. That gave me a sense of okay,
it's
this
going to
is
be
almost
in
Call
an
of
upcoming
Duty-ish.
release.
I know it's blast for me to say
So,
that, but
it's
guys,
gonna
I'm
be
sorry. That's the gold
early
standard.
next year. I want to go to Evocati.
It's
Early
Battlefield.
next year, I
What
wanna
they are
get it out.
making is
There's no reason to
Battlefield.
hold this back.
I'm
Right?
fine
I
with
want to
that.
play this really, really
It's
quick.
I've
So I wanna
crashed
get you guys
4
into it
times in a
early next
row
year.
in this Hornet. That's it. I'm done flying. I'm gonna go shoot something with a gun.
Right. Absolutely.
So what else are we going to do? Well, we got work on the netcode. Obviously, everybody's going to go, oh, well, we got this 250 millisecond delay or whatever it is. Luckily, part of my pillar, part of
you from
my
a
job
year
anyways,
ago,
is I've got the technical content side and when we've got the combat pillar side. Along with Rich, we run the combat pillar, which has the network engineers, sorry, not just the network engineers, gameplay kind of network engineer that will work on this. So he works on the upstream refactor, the downstream refactor, and the netcode rework for hit registration on the server. So this will make everything much, much better. In terms of the mode itself, though, because it's so tight in terms, like against the PU, it's actually not, we haven't really had any major problems with it. And because it's vehicle-oriented, in a lot of cases, we haven't really seen much issues. So the other thing we're going to do is some lobby system updates. Lobby system updates really mean matchmaking. That's the big thing for me. Me and the Turbulent guys have talked about it, as well as Tony Zurovec, and we've always talking about a contact system. The fact that we've got like 3 different friends databases that are all over the place, and
John
there's one on
Trick
the
and
front
Tony G
end.
in a
You
conversation.
gotta handshake
That'll
them,
take
and
a
it's all
couple
really
hours.
crazy. So there's no reason that it shouldn't be just one seamless kind of friends or group experience from Spectrum all the way down to the game. Why it's separate makes no sense at all. Not for you guys, not for us. We don't like it either. So we want to fix that.
I mean, not that it wouldn't be a bad conversation. It would
So
be
what
just
that's
be
going to do is going to make it
verbose
much
and
easier to play with your
idea-ful.
friends and join up
Full of
and get in the
ideas.
game right
Throwing in a
away.
whole bunch of
would-
words
Because
people
again,
don't know.
I thought to myself, okay,
I
my son is
love
4 years old, and
listening
he's
to
starting
Tony
to play
Z.
some of these
It's-
Switch games. He's playing a lot of these Lego games with
Have you
me.
ever watched Planet Earth?
And I can sit
And
play
David
Star Citizen with him.
Attenborough's
But I
soothing
wanted to
voice
put him in
just
front of it and
puts
just
you to
leave him
sleep.
alone. And at 4,
That's Tony Z.
probably not.
But it's because it's
But
so
maybe
fast you
6?
can't understand it.
It should be pretty soon. So it's really
It's like a
important. to me.
foreign language at
Also,
some point,
squads.
sometimes.
That's something else I want to bring into this. Is a really important component of it. Like, though we're going to have VoIP within it, and I'll talk about that in a second, I do want people to be able to play together in a really, really meaningful way. So form up in a squad, hell, on Spectrum, and just end up in the game within that same squad. Bring people in
Again,
and
I
out,
love
whatever
Tony
it
G.
is.
I'm not trying to make fun of him. He just, that's how it is.
It is what it is.
I was trying to
So the
avoid
next thing
that.
is kind of some VoIP.
That's what came to my mind. I'm like, don't say that.
I'm calling it out. It
Pretty
is
sure you guys
what
know
it
this, but
is.
in Arena Commander and Star Marine, and now Theater of War, there's no chat. There's no chat. You can't
Fullback,
talk shit
thanks for the
to them.
subscription.
Sorry, you can't talk.
Thanks, fullback.
You can't talk badly to the enemy team, right? You can't say anything to them. Actually, you can kind of use the emotes and everything, which is fine. But we need some basic chat. Oh my goodness. So we're going to get that integrated. We've been working on that. But it's also going to bring the group and VoIP support. And what's really cool about it is something that always frustrates me in any kind of combined arms game or any game that has a cooperative kind of vehicle is I'll get in the gunner seat and I can't tell the driver how bad he's driving, right? So with the PU, you guys have had this experience already. There's the concept of, the ship channels. And we have the exact same concept for Theaters of War. When you jump in an Ursa, you're going to be able to talk to that driver because you're within that channel with him. So you can say, driver, whatever, right? Or you're doing a great job, I'm sure. The other thing, we'll have global proximity. So basically, you should be able to hear them talking to each other at distance because this isn't the only scenario we'll make. There'll be scenarios that make a lot more sense so that the global proximity stuff will make a meaningful difference. We'll have the team groups and the vehicle groups, as I mentioned. So I want to make a couple updates to this. One of the things you might have noticed, even in the video, in the pull-out especially, now that you guys have seen Planet V4 tech, you look at the V3 stuff and you're like, ooh. So I looked at it and I went, ooh. So I want to get Planet V4 onto this before it gets out to you guys. I think that's a really good thing to do. It allows us to vary the terrain a lot more. And if anything, that's really my only complaint artistically is that the terrain is really, really quite flat anyways.
check.
I mean,
So we're gonna do
I'd
that. We
like
wanna
to
update some of the
have an
vehicles
update
on
on
there,
Theaters
just
of War,
depending on the
actually, of
analytics
like
reviews. And
But check. I mean, they got the
other thing I
V4
wanna
tech
get
on that
into
one.
is our
Still
basically we
waiting.
have a briefing video that's running.
Couple of weeks
I
ago.
want to get that all in game, and then
we
in the end,
know
I
it's
would
too
like a
far.
role-play
I
map
want an
getting to
update
that
every
station coming
week.
down. I think we'll do something pretty exciting.
When's it coming? When's it coming? When's it
Or
coming?
if you defend
When
it,
can it happen?
so I'd like to have something pretty exciting happening at the end. So we'll make some art updates, but this is kind of the fun, polished stuff that I like to keep to the end. We do this because we know it's fun already. Yeah, on top of trying new vehicles and potentially even shifting locations around just based on the feedback. Whoa, that's too big in my notes. All right, so lots of people helped. Now, this was really easy and fun thing to actually work on. It's a lot easier for the developer to be able to spin up a thing in that's a 30-minute round. We've got 40 people playing. You can play test every day in a really, really meaningful way, but it's very analytical, like we're doing the same round over and over. So we know exactly what's happening, but we're having the right conversations now, and that's what really excites me about this, is, hey man, the railgun can actually shoot through the glass of the rover into a passenger seat in the back. I'm like, whoa, you can? Okay, we should probably fix that. Somebody told me a great story about they couldn't get an angle on the Erris driver. So they had, the driver had left the door open, and he ran in the back, and he couldn't get an angle on him with his rifle, and he just, grenade. Got him, cool. You know, go in. So these are the good conversations to be having. These are actual gameplay conversations. There's things like, hey, the Animus is really, really too strong. Somebody can sit right beside an ammo crate and just sit there and defend the entire point themselves. Those are the right conversations to be having.
Because people think Theater of War is not going to be a thing.
Some big special things have to go out. To
Yeah, I
Richard
can see it
Tyler,
right now.
who
That's
you
a
see in a second
farce.
here.
Fake
Milan
news, buddy.
Paycheck, who I wouldn't
It's
have been able to do any of this
it'll be
PowerPoint
his
stuff.
pseudonym.
He's incredible. Tom, Forrest, Johnny, Jens, Clive. I'm sorry the stream is so far behind, okay? Rob Johnson, Thorsten, Steven, Michael, Nick Piers, Lee Wood, the actor feature team, lead programmers around here somewhere. Jens Lind. So the character art and tech team, they
It's
got
really
really
fun
involved,
watching
which
that
was
one
great,
live.
because the characters look fantastic. We made them nice and bright so people could see them on the map.
Did I?
Which is really important.
I can't remember
the
which
QA team,
Citizens
obviously,
Con I
so
was
we've been
at
doing
yet.
these 40-person play tests
2018?
every
Austin?
Wednesday
That
for
wasn't
a
Austin,
while
was it?
now, for the last 6
No,
months
this
at
one is
least.
2019. This is
And then
Okay, yeah, that
all
wasn't
the other
Austin.
developers involved, and all
Where was
you,
19?
I don't know where the camera is, but you guys know who you are.
Manchester.
And thank you guys.
No, I didn't go to that one because it was far away again.
Okay.
Because 2020, this year was supposed to be in Los Angeles. And I was
So
ready to
now
go for that
we'll
until our
proceed to the
wonderful friend hit.
Q&A with whatever time we got
pandemic.
left. We got Richard Tyre over there. I think I'm just going to march over there. All right, very good. So thank you guys so much. And to the guys that didn't get to play it, I'm really sorry that we only had
What a year.
280 slots today. One of the I just want to explain the reason why we did this. I've done a lot of E3s and Gamescoms and stuff like this, and when they do this big lineup, you never know if you're going to have enough time to play. There's other things that you want to be doing. We had talks throughout the day, so I thought it was much better that we had a bit of a schedule, or that you signed up for slots rather than kind of trying to get as many people through as absolutely possible. So I'm sorry you might not have got to play it. We'll try to reveal as much as we can, but I'm going to get into your guys' hands as soon as I can. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Sean. We've actually got Ulf in the war room right now. Ulf, what's going on?
Hey, Jared. Thank you very much for that great presentation, Sean. I'm here in the war room where we pitched 20 attackers against 20 defenders, battling it out. And I actually got someone who just played the new game mode, Mad Rambo.
Oh,
hey,
gosh.
man,
Can I comment about that shirt,
really,
please?
I think
I understand
much needed.
they
and
tried.
It's gonna implement more things for all combat.
The most
I mean, it
important
looks like a
question
Harry
first, did you
Belafonte
win?
shirt, you know.
Yes.
Quite easily.
Oh, did you know?
It was
the other one.
And what was your
The one
favorite
with
part
Carrick
about
on
the
it.
new mode?
I
It was
think
like
it's more to do with
$70.
The ships, vehicles, and on boots on the
It was
ground,
looks like
just
all together as one.
Okay.
That's
did you
the
enjoy
type of
ground
shirt I
combat,
wear to
the
work.
ground vehicle combat or the air combat the most?
That's
Surprisingly,
I
being a
would
pilot
have
and I don't
loved
normally
to
go on the
buy
ground, I
one
was on the ground all the time.
if it had
I
been
find
like
really satisfying.
$40, like a
Very good.
normal shirt
And
like that.
do you think it is easy to get
Not
into the mode because
80.
it's a very new game mode?
No.
Well,
Yeah,
you
it's-
just
it's-
saw a video
Speaking of
and then we
shirt,
threw
you
you
can pick
into
up
it.
Yeah, it's literally just straight through the
from
stone
our
wing. It's exactly
merchandise
the
store.
same way as
And
the-
then
That
25
that is a segue.
Right, very good. And
Yeah.
what was was it easier to defend or was it easier to attack?
And it's comfortable too. I just
easier to
got the time to
defend,
mail,
especially
and it
phase
feels
one.
good. It's a great shirt.
And
I recommend it.
how was the team communication going?
The team
Still waiting
communication
on
was
my
really
shirt,
good.
Griff.
Apart from we had to keep a couple of people quiet.
All right. And like every team, the defenders and the attackers, they do have specific spawn points. They do have specific loadouts. They do have specific vehicles they can use.
Yeah, so there is certain vehicles you can use. I mean, there's a ballista in there, which using it in this game mode is going to be really, really good. Specific loadouts, I'm sure we might be able to change that at some point. And yeah, it was just everything combined as one. It was really good.
Right. And I heard that you had a
that
you killed a ballista with the SMG.
Yes, I did. I killed a ballista.
That sure is really killing me. But the point of what he was saying, I mean, like I said, Star Marine just pretty much
for the feedback.
One and done.
So we're gonna
this
throw it
game,
over to the live
3
Q&A
phases.
now. So back to main stage.
Phenomenal. Jump between.
Thank you so much, Elf. Now, just like before, there's already a list of people. All right.
Jump between ships.
Guys, we have about
and ground
10
vehicles.
minutes to use questions. So I don't know who's
that's on
first. I
game.
can't see who's first. Start talking.
What does Jared got to say?
Sean, you're breathtaking.
But you know, it's just.
And I wouldn't worry too much about Twitch chat either. I've been with them for a
yeah.
while, and they don't know what they're talking about ever, so it's fine.
Who is this guy? I haven't seen him in
Yeah, right. Who's that guy?
First of all, congratulations.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely brilliant. I loved it,
Glad
and it
he's
was
back.
maybe one of the single most
Didn't he propose to his
impressive
girlfriend
gameplay
at
experiences I've had.
2018?
kind of awesome.
2018.
It's released.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely incredible.
Awesome. Thank you.
You know,
Except no one saw it because it was blank on the schedule. It was the only time to go get food.
While the PU sort of gestates how much fun we had, true stars.
I will be
experience
right
we've had
back.
in these. This is a great example of it. Now, Marine Commander and Star Marine sort of languished for a while without much love until very recently. Is there a plan to update and maintain the content for gameplay modes like this in the future going forward?
Yep. And actually, the exact same team that worked on Theater of War within this combat pillar was the one that brought you the Good Doctor. So actually, during this time, we just built another map on Planet Side.
That was a good map to play in Star Marine,
A lot of the
by
stuff
the
we
way.
were doing in theaters, we were just like, all right, well, let's try this in another map. We built that other map up, and again, like, it's so much of this exists
Finally,
already.
that was the
It
only
doesn't
map
take a
that
ton
allowed
of
us to
doing,
play
for us to get
on
it in, because
on
we're
the
not spending
planet,
a ton of
I
resources on it.
believe.
And it helps the PU, it helps Squadron, it helps that whole gameplay scenario. So let me get back
At
to
that
actually
time?
the content on Arena Commander and Star Marine. Because we've got some resources on it, and they've really been trained up, and they all fully understand what's going on within each one. We want to make all these updates and apply them to them. So things like the lobby rework and all of these are going to benefit Star Marine and Arena Commander. And I've got some I've got some plans for Arena Commander that I think you guys will really like. I'm not ready to talk about them today. I'm still pitching them to Chris.
So he has plans for Arena Commander. This is you,
And I think at some point you'll be quite happy. But yes, we are keeping some focus on that. But the really, really, really important part, and it's really important to understand, I'm not saying the PU isn't fun at all. There is different types of gameplay. Star Citizen's a big game. You've got mining, you've got exploration,
Not right
you've
there.
got a lot of non-combat kind of activities, which is fun. It's just hard to coexist that, balance that, work on it, really hone it to the state that it needs to be when it's not the primary focus of the given mode, if that makes any sense. So now that it is the primary focus for this given team anyways, this given pillar, I think you'll see some big improvements. And I hope you've felt those over the last, 6 months to 9 months as long as we've been working on it.
I mean, Heavy Bob, I disagree on that one. You can't at least purchase a ship in the game now and try to keep it.
Well, first off, it's all of the systems that are in the PU in terms of the animations. In terms
I believe that was why point
ships,
2 was put in the
weapon
3.10.
swapping, interacting,
You should
player
be able to
interaction
have
system.
something going on with that.
All of that stuff underpins this
Give
game
them a
mode.
little bit of
The
credit.
game mode is the
They're
wrapper that
working on
sits on top.
something.
And everything that is
They're
goes
working
into
on a
all
lot.
the
It's just a
foundations
lot of
that
it doesn't
come from the
translate
PU.
yet. There's
So when we get
there's
that in
stuff
there,
that's missing
anything
for
we
it to
improve
be
on it
full.
in terms of the animation speed.
But I honestly, that's why I think Theaters of War is so important. It's something that someone like me who's interested in the game but has no interest in playing the PU at the state that it's in
foundation of everything
would be interested in jumping into because it's a game. It's there's
when you're flying ships,
there's 3
all of
phases.
that,
There's a
we wanna
beginning.
make it
There's an
better.
end.
And
It's
this
a
gives us,
thing,
in use
right?
Sean's term, the petri dish.
Right.
It gives us that focus that we can really hone down and absolutely improve
Yeah,
it.
it's a transparent development,
quickly
but you
repeatable
got to look.
access
Yes.
to all
Do you
these
want too
fundamental
much
game
transparency?
systems without having to
And
fly
at this
from
point in time, I'm
OSR
fine
to
without getting it.
Microtech
As soon
and all
as
around.
you
And to be
give
honest,
me
you can
a
see it
finished
with
product,
devs coming up. It's like,
you know, you got
when's
other
the
games that
playtest?
haven't given you
Can
anything,
I get in on that?
and
we're like,
or
yeah,
some
sure,
games that
yeah,
can't
jump
give you
on in,
anything because they folded.
So it's fantastic to see.
But
it's you know, it's
the type of games
revitalizing
that
for
we've
us,
all seen,
and it's also something that we can really focus.
you can
really see
arguably
quick
say that Star
turnaround
Citizen has been too
improvements
transparent.
and get that improvement.
And I think
That's
a
only
lot
gonna
of
benefit
people have gotten to the
everyone.
point to
See, this
where
harkening back to the
they
original
just
mission statement
they
of
get
Arena Command
concerned when they miss a week or two or
Who's
let
next?
alone a month.
Hi.
You know,
just a quick
and my whole
question.
thing
What's
is,
the,
okay,
plan
the next
for
type of
aim
transparency
assist?
I want to see is when
The
is
long-
that
the
date for
long-term
Squadron
plan
42?
for aim assist. Have you introduced it?
Having-
That's
That's what I would
what
do.
you guys think of it.
Having
What's your
watched-
plan for it for the
sorry.
future?
We've got our
Sometimes they are
opinions
too
on it.
transparent.
I can
And
share our opinions.
I just want
can't
to say
share the
that,
plans.
you know, as soon as they finish
I think
the
one thing
technology
to
for like
talk about in
iCac and
terms
stuff
of
like
aim
that,
assist
it's
is,
going to, a whole
the
bunch of
reason
other stuff
behind
going
why
to fall
we
around
require
after
it.
that.
And, you know,
I think
Sean
it's going
touched
to
on it in terms of
accelerate
the
development.
networking.
Once they
We've
figure
got
out
some
this
guys working
little,
on the
you know,
upstream and downstream
small
and actually
things
making
they
that,
have to,
you know, because obviously
do
combat over the
before
network,
everything
you know, it's got to go, you know, I shoot
Especially like,
the
you're
gun,
going to get the
saying
whole
it's got to go up
sea
to the server from
and
my
stuff like
client,
that.
and then it's
So,
go
yeah,
from
I'm
the
looking
server
forward
to
to it.
somebody else's client.
sorry,
So
go ahead,
we want to
Erris.
make sure that the networking is absolutely on point. And then, you know, I think that's when we can start talking
Then we
about
can
aim
debate
assist.
proper.
And,
I'd-
you know,
I'd
do we
say-
need it?
what was
How
I
does
gonna
that
say?
impact the rest of it? So
When it comes to
I think that's where we're at
transparency,
with it.
I mean, I've been watching this game
Thank you.
since it started
Who's next?
being worked on in 2012, and I remember CIG showing early work on atmosphere getting
I wanted it in.
shoved
Yes,
out
I
of
wanted
a
it
of
in.
a room,
We have
right?
we have
They showed some really
So
early
it-
look
it's a
dev
pretty
on
big
that. They
one,
showed
and
some
it
really
actually
early
already
look
fixed,
dev
and it
on
got fixed for Keynote,
a golf
but
swing
I didn't
mechanic
fix for
for
theaters.
single ship scanning,
But
and
it's
people
my fault, I
got
branched off, whatever. It's okay.
so
But basically
pissed
that
off.
sun was meant to move.
Like-
so during
like
the phases, and we actually did this
vitriol
back in the,
and hate spewing from
about
parts of the
another game
community that
anyways.
were like,
We would do
this is
at
garbage,
certain
this is the
parts
worst
in
thing.
it, because again, it
So
only
yeah,
happens
you know
over
what?
30 minutes. Like, how much are you
They've
gonna see
pared
this thing
back
move in
some
30
of the
minutes? Probably not.
transparency because
But
the
I can
only
actually
thing that they've
encourage that a little
proven
bit by just
is that
animating
we are
it.
not
The sun is a
responsible
real
enough
thing
as a
in Star
community
Citizen,
at
like,
times
it still blows
to
my
see
mind.
exactly what's going on.
Reiterating the disk. We can move it around.
Yeah.
We can also rotate
I have
the
an
planet if we
announcement.
want. So
Hey,
what I
but
wanted
Griffin
was
Griffin,
phase
a Soul
1,
Citizen
it was
himself.
actually morning.
Since Kelosal
and then phase 2
said it,
was
we'll do a
afternoon,
raffle
and then
for
in
a Soul
phase
Citizen
3,
mug or
the
mousepad
planet's
of your
looking
choice.
so incredible
They should
that
visit the
everybody's
Mer's
seen the
website, pick the
screenshot,
color
but it's
of the
sunset,
mag.
right?
So the
And
keyword
then I
is
wanted
raffle,
that
exclamation
sunset
point raffle.
during phase 3. So
And the
to
winners
answer your
should
question,
send
yes,
a
absolutely.
mailing address to
But it won't be, it's not like,
soulcitizens@gmail.com.
it's not like a,
Soulcitizens
I guess
with
a
an S
real
at the
day-night
end,
cycle.
at
As
gmail.com.
soon as I move the sun, yeah.
See how I helped you guys
Well, the
out.
one thing to note as
It's
well,
raffle time.
we've not
Raffle
faked
time.
anything. You know, even you look at the Good Doctor, there's a whole
once
planet
again,
there with, you know, you've got
if
that
you want
tiny
a
little
mug
map, that
or a
arena
mouse
that
pad, a Soul
have everything,
Citizen
but
mug or mouse
it's all
pad,
real. It's all like
enter
the
exclamation
PU.
point
It's
raffle
all there. So
to try
you know,
to try to
day-night
win
cycle,
one.
everything that's
I
in
just
PU,
gotta, because we're
totally
briefly talking about mouse
possible in
pads,
this
I
world.
gotta, my good friend Nakara found out that I had a crappy mouse pad and
Nice,
sent
I'm
me
jealous.
this beauty.
I actually don't know.
I'm jealous. I'm cutting off
No,
my screen
I
right
swear
now.
I
Just
don't know.
to-
Who do you think it is?
Twitch chat
nice,
was convinced it was
nice.
you.
Exclamation
I know,
point
I
raffle,
was gonna say
guys.
it sounds like me, but it's
in the
not.
chat.
Do it up.
To go ahead and
All
get
right.
that
I did
wonderful
swear
item.
for a game though. You can look that up. That's fun.
Hey, yeah, just a quick
Think of
question
Kelosal when you do get that.
Will we be getting more?
Oh, yeah, Rachel's want to talk about this.
Yay, the
The
Gatsby.
Gatsby 808. Thank
Well,
you for
we've
the
got a lot of
subscription.
weapons that, you know, when you look at the breakdown of FPS weapons across, you know, the whole of the PU, you know, we've got that standard foundation in terms of the, you know, the classes, you say SMGs, snipers, the different loadouts. And then we've got the more exotic weaponry. So, you know, we just released the Salvo last patch. But we've got a long
This is going to be
roadmap
interesting. I'm
of
quite sure they're going to go ahead and encompass the new
you know,
weapons, the new
because
electric
we've
weapons,
populated the
electric
kind of
weapons
like
that we have, the
base
EMP weapons, whatever they're
weapons
going to
expect
call
from
them.
a, you know, modern military shooter.
can't wait till they put
now
those
we're starting to get to the fun stuff.
in the game.
So we've got some really
to
cool
try.
stuff. I can't talk about it today, but to answer your question,
you know, I guess we'll talk about it a little bit more in terms of. The question I want to ask is, do we know when they're going to release, or not just release, but I guess for another stage of testing?
Bring some really interesting gameplay
for
that
Theaters of War,
ties into
because I haven't seen any information on it lately. But
yeah, It's good.
I guess we'll
not
find
to
out
read
more. I
too
mean,
much
we're
on
in,
it, but
almost in
you
September.
really do need that
So
environment.
we
to be
have,
able to
what,
bring
one more
those
month
kind
to
of,
go, I believe, until
weapon
Citizen
types
Con?
online. Again, if
Or
you have
whatever their
really
virtual
hard
Citizen Con is going to be.
whatever they're going to do. Yeah.
don't rigorously
Yeah.
play
So
them,
VertCon,
you're
I guess
gonna get some
they would have called it
wackiness
or something
happening.
like
So,
that. But
now that
it'd
we've
be
got
interesting to
these
see if
environments to be able to do
they
this,
finally
I think,
throw out
yeah, you'll see some
Theaters
fun
of War that whole
All right, thank you.
week
We got time for
of
one more
the virtual
question.
Citizen Con. Be interesting.
Really? I just got like.
Okay.
You talk.
My question is, can you use these concepts to create events in the PU?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting you say that. It's one of the great conversations
It's a very
I've had a
basic
couple
question,
times
but
with
that's
Paul
all right.
Reindell. When he first heard about this, he goes, "Oh, this is cool, but just put it in the PU." Right?
Sometimes,
That's what he said.
Citizen Con's
Just
been
put it in
all
the
kinds of
PU.
people.
And I'm
New
kind of with
people
him
who
on
may
that.
not know it
Here's the
very much
key, and
in
actually,
no time is like us.
there's a Reddit thread that I saw that was perfect, and I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's basically like within the PU, it's like, wake up, go to thing, spawn your ship, get to the thing, get to the place, do the thing, get the thing, then shoot. In the war room, it's click, click, click. Oh, that's so stupid. And you're playing. It's basically 3 clicks and you're in. And playing and having that combat. Now, if we could integrate this into the world of the PU like it's happening on the planet and everything, I would do absolutely that. But right now, it's a standalone within matchmaking for leaderboards and everything like that. It's a little easier of an experience to give to you rather than putting a bunch of, basically putting a lot of stuff in front of you and the game mode itself.
I think the one thing to note as well is that obviously PU with the 50-player cap, and we're pulling all those 40 players into that kind of one location. And when we start to, push out further, in terms of the players online, you'll be able to experience that on a more regular basis. So it's absolutely a learning experience for us in terms of pulling everyone in straight out the gate, and it's only going to give us more information and more analytics to basically create those in the PU. Absolutely.
Right. So, and like I said in the talk, right, the eventualities that the PU, gets like that, right, with server meshing, with server object container streaming, we're going to get there.
Absolutely.
And it has to be fun when we get there.
All right, thank you so much, guys. One final question. How did the Ursa have more kills than anything else?
It's the Buccaneer wins now. After a couple of rounds. But
the
Ursa's a really stable firing platform. That's one thing. The weapons that are on top are infantry shredders, right? They will just cream infantry. If you're using the remote turret in the Ursa, and
the devs should be ashamed.
Keep an eye on your back and front. You'll be fine. It's a very powerful spawn point, but the ships and the Animus and the railgun destroy it. So.
All right. Well, Sean, Richard, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll do another follow-up on Star System Live or something sometime before the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. So that's the end of the video, but I just want to remind people there's a raffle going on for a Soul Citizen mug or a mouse pad of your choice. So exclamation point raffle to get into that. And sorry if I was too quiet when the video was going on. Okay, so what do you guys thought now? Start with Erris. Now that you've seen the video.
I mean, my thoughts remain the same. I remember being really, really excited watching that video at the time. I'm still excited. It's sort of reminding me that, like, hey, we still don't have Theaters of War. Where is that? I want to play it. But no, I think it's really, really important for the game, and I think it's really important for players. It would be something that if they can polish it, and I honestly hope they wait until it is polished and they can release it in a polished state, because I think it would I think it'll add a lot to CIG to them being able to say, yeah, here's a game that you can go play. This is like essentially, I mean, not put it in these words, but it's essentially their version of Battlefield. It's a game loop. There's something you can play. There's something for everyone. Everyone can try it, and it's something that they're going to keep updated. And if they can deliver on this, this has been the best year in Star Citizen funding history already.
Oh,
okay. They've already beaten all of their previous years. If they can launch Theaters of War and have it be stable, I think next year will be even better.
So if they released it this year, I mean, imagine how much money they would pull in just for this year. But I don't know if I mean, this year's been so good. I can't imagine next year being better. But hey, we said the same thing like previous year, so who knows?
Yeah.
How about you, Kelosal? What are your thoughts?
Next year's gonna be better if they give it that release date. I mean, of Squadron 42, but at a Gamescom or E3 or something like that.
Gamescom.
But Gamescom is now. Yeah, it's on now. So, but I did say next year. But in this case, I love what's going on with this. It allows them to finally go ahead and play with the lore of the game, because now that they're adding an additional aspect of the game that takes the game to a different level, phases, vehicles being added. You didn't have that with Star Marine. You just had a gun or two. You had to pick your gun during the pre-screen mode. You either were an outlaw or or the other group, and then that was it. And now you get to a game that allows you to choose one of 4 or 5 different types of groups of people to go ahead and play, and then you have ships in the game along with ground vehicles in the game. And now you get to add the imagination of your lore into that concept. So now you can just take that. This is Theater Wars, just for lack of a better word, phase 1 of what they can do with that type of a setup. They can now add to, their what's that lore? I forgot the little program that they always have, but they can now add all those lore makers. They can now add all those lore tidbits into any phases of a version of a Theaters of War in that game. And that's one thing that I've been looking for a long time was, okay, where's your gameplay? Where's your lore? And on top of that, you're adding squad battles with that lore, or things that could have happened that didn't happen, right? Maybe a turnaround. What if this didn't happen at a certain particular place, or can you change the outcome of what really happened? These are the many things that they can put in the game now with a Theaters of War or another version of a Theaters of War. So it adds to the dynamic aspects of Star Citizen, and it's a great addition to the game once they put it in.
Cool. So yes, I didn't have too much to add between the two of you, but yes, I mean, if you need a pilot or a driver or something like that, I'll try to be available. But we have some questions from the Twitch chat on our question document. So I'm going to say, I'm on my phone, so I can look at the thing too. Hopefully I'll be able to get the. But it says shiver, not shiver. More of a request, but can Erris say resistance is futile, please?
Resistance is futile.
You sound better now, because whatever it was, your internet cleared out. For the next question, as you did from me, from Silver Mastery, given that the original concept for the freelancer was the ugliest thing ever seen by humankind, will you be playing Theaters of War with the HOTAS ready, or stick with keyboard and mouse? What are you planning on playing Theaters of War with?
I'm a dual joystick guy, so it'll be joysticks all the way with that.
Yeah, but the FPS part?
Oh, the FPS would be mouse and keyboard. It'd be mouse and keyboard.
But for the fight, it'll be joystick. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I jump in the plane, it'll be joystick all day. But that mouse and keyboard goes quite handily with that FPS.
How about you, Erris?
Mouse and keyboard all the way. I've got a HOTAS. It's not the greatest. It's It's not the greatest. And I'm not a very good flyer, so my plan is to be in ships for the minimum amount of time possible. I mean, I think that I'd like to just like fly a ship straight up into space, eject, and like float my way to the objective. That's my plan. So
good luck on that one. That ain't gonna happen.
No, I'm a ninja. No one will see me.
Yeah, I said it before, but I use a flight stick and voice attack for flying, but I'll use the keyboard for the FPS port and driving most likely. I don't see myself using joystick to drive around, but yeah, so I'll be using that combination.
I haven't gone that far, Kimmy, with the pedals. That's you and Nubifier and the rest of the group running around there with pedals and stuff. I just haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still stuck on the freaking 16,000s, okay? I'm still stuck on the 16,000s. Haven't even gotten the other ones like a Verpo or things like that. I'll get that for Christmas. But if y'all do that hashtag raffle, the exclamation point raffle, folks.
No, my 16,000 is like maybe 5 years old now, and it still looks like a champ. And I'm not upgrading to anything. I love that thing.
Star Citizen, I'm playing with keyboard and mouse. Up until the point that this stupid thing has support. And then I'm going to play with a joystick, all right?
Yeah.
Then I will play with HOTAS.
But, not to hop into too much, but the thing I love about the T16,000 is that it's left-handed and right-handed. You just got to switch the thumb thing. The thumb handle or whatever on it, and yeah. But most joysticks today are just right-handed, and I can't deal with that. All right, so for our last question, I think it says rejected child. What has been your favorite aspect of development so far? Start with Kelosal.
The favorite aspect of development?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wish they were a little bit more specific on that one. I do like the Planet Tech. I do think it's a game changer in terms of their V4. A lot of games are now trying to either mimic that or trying to go ahead and throw that out there. I'm not even going to say a couple of games to say a few, especially those that are almost the same genre that's out there right now. But I think their Planet Tech is something that I tend to love. We're talking about certain aspects of the game. We're talking about aspects of the game, or we're talking about aspects of theaters of war. Theaters of war, I just shared that in terms of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and all that good stuff. But in terms of the game, I do love what they've done with the ability of being in orbit, seeing the planet from orbit, and then actually flying into the planet with the strong possibility of atmospheric flight and different types of climate changes and weather in different parts of the planet. Each planet has a different biodome. And it doesn't just have one biodome for the entire planet. For example, Microtech, I believe, has 3 or 5, somewhere around there.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, so
I would say 4.
About 4, right? Somewhere between that. So it's interesting to see that, and the levels. The higher it is, the different type of level, different type of climate that they have. So I think that's one aspect that I love about Star Citizen is their evolvement with the Planet Tech.
Before we get to Erris, I just want to say the last call for the raffle, for the exclamation point raffle, to get a mug or a mouse pad from Soul Citizen. All right, go ahead, Erris.
I sort of look at the favorite aspect of development questions slightly differently. To me, like when I think of the thing that I've loved most about Star Citizen's development, it has nothing to do with the game. I mean, the tech is incredibly impressive. The way they're doing more. What?
You're going to steal my answer, aren't you? Go ahead.
Probably. I'm sorry if I do. Like, I mean, everything about the game is interesting, but it's fun to watch them build it. The thing that I think has been most amazing, honestly, has been meeting people and the entire community. And I know I'm sorry, but it's true. Like,
it's true.
I mean, look, I go to citizen cons to hang out with people, not even for the show itself, which is fun, but it's for the people. Like I genuinely really like so many people in the community, and I always wondered how people got into things. Like back when I played Diablo 2, there would always be websites that I'd use to try and figure out which loot would drop from which mob most often, and I remember specifically wondering what kind of weird person spends their time putting that up on the internet somewhere, and like, oh shit, I'm that weird bastard now, aren't I? That is what matters most to me. It's something that I get angry at development. I question it. I worry. But at the end of the day, I get to experience it, and not just myself. I'm experiencing it with everyone else. Like it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
I concur.
Sorry, fastcart.
Yeah, he's so much. I was gonna say the community, but I'll expand on that. It's like, and the bar citizens as well as the citizen cons, because you have your local event. Well, we used to be able to, but hopefully that'll pick up in the near future. But yes, I enjoy those. You can see this one. The picture in my background is from the PAX East from this year, back in late February. And I forget the total number we had, but it was like our biggest one in Boston. Yeah, I want to say 150. Don't quote me on that, but it was our biggest one. Yeah. So yes, and also how nice the community is. And it's not. I mean, yes, we have some salty people. You just go to Reddit to see that. But I mean, like if someone like a friend of ours, mother needs the roof redone, and you had someone started a GoFundMe, and people be giving to that. In 2018, I had to buy a new cart, so I was able to go to CitizenCon, and Erris himself set up a GoFundMe for me to get to CitizenCon, and I've been very appreciative of that. So yeah, and the maturity of the community too is something is different compared to other games. I mean, the game hasn't even launched yet, and we have all this great community stuff going on. So yes, that's been my favorite aspect of this particular development cycle. All right, so I think we're ready for the raffle to end. So let's try to see who wins the raffle. Table of Horrors. You
oh my God! Really?
Our very own Super Battery.
Table of Horrors. Table of Horrors got it.
Rick.
Just throwing darts. Congratulations, Table.
Congratulations. So yeah, just contact Griffin. You get your choice of a mug or a mouse pad, it's shipped to you. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
That's
all right. All right, so I was going to wrap up. Kelosal, tell us where we can find you when you're not here.
You can find me on with Test Squadron. Pretty much. I hang around with them guys all the time if I'm not working. I'm a busy guy, but finally I got a camera. I'm not even going to tell you the stories about that one. Thank you, I appreciate that. This COVID wait is killing me. But yeah, you can find me at Test Squadron. You just come in and go into, we have Gilded and we have a Discord, and you just pop in and say hello. I'm pretty much in there every day. I have a very, very busy public life, so it doesn't allow me to stream or things like that a lot. Being an educator and doing things politically, but that's where pretty much you can find me. So wherever you find Griffin, wherever you find fastcart, it's pretty much where you can find me, pretty much. But I do want to thank you guys for bringing me back on. I want to thank being on with Erris. It was a pleasure, sir. I enjoyed it. And
I got a sir?
Yes, sir. You got it. and I look forward to doing many more of these things with you guys.
But before we get to Erris, I just want to thank him and the rest of the relay staff for supporting us at Soul Citizen. Right from the start, he's been one of our champions of and retweeting us and giving us support. So I want to say thank you for that. So where can we find you, Erris?
You can find me up in the frozen north of Canada. But if you want to find me on the interwebs, twitch.tv/relay_SC. We talk Star Citizen Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we talk just all video games Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. I was going to say, Kelosal, if you're an educator, if you're a teacher, one, thank you for that, and two, stay safe.
Thanks, appreciate that. I intend to.
Good.
And if you want to find me, I'm on twitter.com/fast_cart. Find me here on Sunday. Find me on Miss Hart's 80 Still on the base radio at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. People of Heart on Wednesday and Friday at around 7:30 Eastern. I'm in chat most of the time. And yeah, that's it. Oh, sometimes I'm on Relay. And sometimes I'm on Captain Table, but I don't see that going on. I don't have anything scheduled anytime soon, put it that way. So with that, thanks for everyone for watching. Peace, love, and soul. Oh, telling you, don't forget to follow us and subscribe to us. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to us and give us a like if you like our stuff. And I just heard a thank you for the follow. I can't read that. I can't read the name, but thank you for the follow. And yes, that's it. Okay, so thank you. All right, bye.